I remember the sound of their laughter. It wasn't the laughter that hurts your ears. It was the kind that cuts your chest open. My mother's glass clinked against my father's. "Thanks for the wedding present," she said, and my sister threw her arms around me. "Perfume thick as poison." They laughed like thieves who just pulled off a perfect heist. I smiled back. That part was important. You can't let them see the crack. Not yet. Instead, I said softly, "Check your mail when you get home." That was 3 weeks ago. The lake house wasn't just property. It was mine. I'd bought it when I was 28. My first real win after years of scraping through freelance contracts and rejections. That cabin on the lake was my sanctuary. My father helped me hang the first wind chime there. My mother picked curtains for the guest room. My sister used to bring her dates there, always calling it my brother's little retreat. When I was promoted, they toasted me on that deck. When I broke up with the woman I thought I'd marry, they comforted me there. They knew what that place meant, which is exactly why selling it felt personal. It started with a call from the county office. "Mr. Hale, just confirming the transfer of the lake property title went through." The what? By the time I reached my lawyer, the sale had closed. My parents were listed as co-signers on the original deed. I'd added them years ago for inheritance convenience. My mistake. They'd used that technicality to sell the house and wire the money directly into my sister's wedding fund. $150,000 for a wedding. I wasn't even invited to until the day before. When I confronted them, they didn't even flinch. "It's family money," my mother said. "You'll buy another one," my father added. My sister smiled, adjusted her engagement ring. "Come on, it's not like you even go there much anymore." They laughed again. That sound became fuel. Revenge doesn't start with rage. It starts with silence. I spent that night sitting in my car outside the empty lot, staring at the reflection of the lake under moonlight. I felt the air leave my lungs, and with it, the last piece of attachment. They'd taken something sacred. Now I'd returned the favor in kind, not in anger. The next morning, I called my lawyer, then my accountant, then my bank. I didn't need to shout. All I needed was patience. My parents had built their retirement around my success. Joint ventures, investments under my name, even tax shelters linked to my consulting firm. I was their silent safety net. Every major asset they owned had some dependency on my credit line or my trust fund umbrella. Quietly, I began cutting threads. I pulled my name from the business filings, reclassified their accounts as inactive partners, redirected the trust disbursements to a new entity, one I controlled exclusively. It took 12 days. By the end, they didn't own what they thought they did. My sister, meanwhile, was busy planning her fairy tale wedding. Custom invitations, imported flowers, a venue by the coast. Every Instagram story was another drop-off fuel. Then 2 weeks before the ceremony, I made a call to the venue manager posing as a vendor confirming payment. There hadn't been one. The check from my parents had bounced. Their accounts were frozen, pending investigation. Funny how that works. The day of the wedding, I showed up in a gray suit and quiet smile. The chaos was already in motion. Guests murmured outside as the staff locked the ballroom doors. The caterer refused service until payment cleared. The florist packed up the bouquets. My father was on the phone red-faced, yelling into static. My mother was near tears. My sister stood in her gown, mascara running, whispering, "What's happening?" I approached them calmly, hands in pockets. "You said it was family money," I told them. "I just took mine back." My father glared. "You ruined your sister's wedding." "No, Izaid, you sold mine." Silence fell like a verdict. I turned to leave, but then I stopped, pulled my phone from my pocket. "Oh, right. You might want to check your mail." That morning, courier envelope had been delivered to their house. Official notices from the financial institution confirming the asset retractions, trust dissolution, and foreclosure warnings. They hadn't seen them yet, but they would. I walked out before anyone said another word. By the time I reached my car, the first message came through. Mom calling. I let it ring, As I drove past the lake that night, I rolled down the window. The water shimmered, dark and endless, reflecting the moon like glass. It didn't feel like loss anymore. It felt clean. People say revenge doesn't bring peace. They're wrong. It just depends on how you define peace. Mine was quiet, like the lake at midnight. Still perfectly.